Okay, let's start with a big question. What if, for more than 100 years, one single family has been playing a very, very long game? A strategic game to shape the entire world. Well, that's the bold claim at the heart of the book we're diving into today, Rockefeller, Controlling the Game, by Jacob Nordangård.
And right from the get-go, the book hits you with this quote from the man himself, John D. Rockefeller. Good leadership consists of showing average people how to do the work of superior people. Wow. I mean, that really sets the tone, doesn't it? It suggests a worldview where leadership isn't just about being part of the team. It's about being the one who orchestrates the whole show.
So who's the guy who wrote this? The author's perspective is, well, it's pretty unique. Jacob Nordangård has a PhD in technology and social change. He's lectured at universities, he's a serious researcher, and he's also the lead singer for a metal band. Yeah, you heard that right. And the book kind of makes the case that you need both that academic brain and an artist's eye for a good story to really see the hidden patterns he's pointing to in the Rockefeller legacy.
And that really brings us to the core idea of the book. The argument here is that the Rockefeller family history, it isn't just a story about oil money and some nice charity work. Nope. The book asks us to look at it as a meticulously planned game. A game with one massive goal: to fundamentally reshape society on a global scale.
So naturally, that leads to the big question the whole book is trying to answer. How on earth did they build and hang on to that kind of incredible influence for over 100 years? You know, what were the rules of this game they were playing?
Well, according to Nordangård, if you really want to understand their global strategy, you have to go all the way back to the very beginning. The book claims a kind of playbook of tactics was put together, forged in the family's earliest, and let's be honest, often most ruthless days.
And the book traces these methods all the way back to John D. Rockefeller's own father, a guy named William, better known as Devil Bill. Now, this guy was apparently a con man, and according to the source, he taught his sons one main lesson: win no matter what it takes. He'd even brag about cheating his own kids in business deals, saying he did it just to make them sharp. Think about the lesson that teaches: trust absolutely no one and control absolutely everything.
Okay, so this timeline here really illustrates a key concept from the book. It's this idea of problem, reaction, solution. So here's the problem. The 1914 Ludlow Massacre. It was brutal. Company guards attacked and killed striking miners and their families. The reaction from the public? Pure, unadulterated hatred. And the solution? Well, this is where it gets interesting. The book argues they basically invented modern public relations, all engineered to completely flip the script on the family's image.
And the book says this was a total transformation. The public image of the hated robber baron was systematically swapped out for the generous philanthropist. I mean, John D. Sr.'s little habit of handing out shiny new dimes to children, that became a national photo opportunity. And how do you control the story? According to the source, they, along with allies like J.P. Morgan, just started buying up major newspapers. Simple as that.
So here's the crucial takeaway from the book. All of these early experiences, they weren't just random events. They were hardened into a repeatable playbook. It was never just about controlling oil. It became about controlling perception, using philanthropy strategically, owning the media narrative, and even, get this, funding the actual scientific research into propaganda and psychological warfare.
All right, so they've got this playbook. How did they use it? Well, the book argues it wasn't just for business anymore. The next target was way, way bigger. We're talking about reshaping entire sectors of society, like medicine, culture, and even global politics.
Let's start with medicine. The book claims their philanthropy was incredibly strategic here. They funded this really influential report back in 1910 called the Flexner Report, which basically standardized medical education across the country. And the result of that standardization? The book argues it pushed medicine towards a model based on patentable, petroleum-based pharmaceuticals, which, just so happened to align perfectly with their core business interests.
Culture, that was another key battleground. The book points directly to the founding of the Museum of Modern Art, or MoMA, by Abby Aldrich Rockefeller. The argument here is that MoMA wasn't just about art. It became a powerful tool to promote and export a very specific kind of modern, progressive, and most importantly, international culture. A culture designed to kind of replace old traditional values with a new, unified global look and feel.
And then there's politics. The book highlights what it calls an absolute masterstroke: the family donating the land for the United Nations headquarters in New York City. Think about it.
With that one single act of charity, the source argues, they physically anchored the entire new framework for global governance right there in their own backyard.
So, you've got these big moves in medicine, culture, and politics. What's the thread connecting them all? According to the book, it's a push towards a very specific endgame called technocracy. And what is that? It's a system where the real decision-makers aren't the people you elect, but a class of experts and scientists. The book presents this as a core goal of the whole long-term game.
And this all leads us to what is probably the book's most provocative claim of all. It argues that huge global crises, and specifically climate change, are now being used as the ultimate reason, the ultimate justification for finally bringing this technocratic vision to life. Which frames the really crucial question the book wants us to ask. When we look at a global crisis like climate change, is it a problem that needs to be solved, or is it an opportunity that needs to be managed? A perfect vehicle to finally roll out a brand new system of world governance.
The book then lays out what it sees as a 4-step process for leveraging this issue. Step 1. You fund the initial scientific research into CO2's impact. Step 2. You use media and entertainment to promote the issue and make it feel urgent. Step 3. You bankroll key activist movements to create that grassroots demand for action. And then, the final step, you step in and propose the solution you had ready all along, a system of global governance.
Now, to back this up, the book pulls out a pretty startling quote. It's from a 1991 report by the super influential think tank, the Club of Rome. And it says, "The common enemy of humanity is man. Pollution, the threat of global warming, water shortages, famine, and the like would fit the bill." Now, for the author, this is like a smoking gun. It's that same problem-reaction-solution framework, but this time it's being played out on the entire world stage.
And so, this is where the book's argument lands. The endgame, it claims, is a new kind of international order, one that isn't really built on sovereign nations anymore, but on the centralized management of global crises, all run by a self-appointed technocratic elite.
So as we wrap up this look into the book's claims, it leaves us with a really challenging question. In a world where it feels like crises are just getting bigger and more frequent, who gets to define what the problem is? Who funds the proposed solution? And when it all comes down to it, who really gets to write the rules for the future?